Yeah, so I'm going to talk about EYG, which I say is there's a couple of things I say about my language. Obviously, it's functional, and this is a functional programming conference, so the fact it's functional is less interesting to people. I describe it as useful, and the reason I describe it as useful is because the key thing for usability is the environments that you can apply for the functional programming to. And there's a lot of tropes about functional programming is useful until you have to talk to the outside world. And I think that effect types really help with this. So, essentially an effect type is you have a program, it's churning along and it goes, okay, I want to read some data from file, and it pops up a sort of paused continuation until some outside system goes, this is the result of that call, let's carry on in a totally pure language. And I think that this solves an awful lot of problems. It has neat composability for a bunch of different effects going together. And I've also shown it to non-programmers or people who are familiar with, HTML, CSS, kind of a little bit of JavaScript, and they're fine with this kind of abstraction in the way that if you tell them about monads, they're not. So I think that, EYG is really focusing on being useful. I want EYG to have a small set of useful features, but I've built it talking to end users quite often. So I've focused on things like having a shell, so that you can, you write a 1 or 2 line program, having scripts really easy to pass around, so you can hash reference, 3 lines of code. You don't have to bring in a package. You don't have semver dependencies. And most importantly, you have effect types. So if you have a program that reads from the file, writes to the network, actually sends a tweet, you can have an effect which would be, integrated with cloud services. It's very much optimized for that kind of program. And I think functional programming is great for this. And I think functional programming is not normally applied to this kind of low business logic, high I/O system.